Hello and welcome to Geordie Leather. In today's episode, I'm going to show you a brand new product that I think you'll find really useful. But before I do that, I want to be totally upfront with you and tell you that I was sent this item by the manufacturers after I'd been chatting with them and telling them about the sort of people that watch my channel. People like you. So we both agreed that we think this could benefit you greatly by seeing what this brilliant tool can do for you and how it could potentially get you started in the highly profitable side of leatherwork that I've talked about many times before in previous videos, personalisation of your leatherwork products. So as I've said before, if you want to make a living, and I mean a good living from your leatherwork, the best way to do that is to focus on the gift market. Now, I've been in business for 30 plus years. I'm the author of 2 books on starting and running businesses, and I've tailored my own leatherwork business to take advantage of the expanding leather gift market. And offering a personalisation service on my own products was probably the best business decision I ever made. Now, if you only do leatherwork as a hobby, that's great, but I'm sure you'd love to be able to put your friend's name on something you make for them. It makes the gift that little bit extra special. I mean, if you focus on small items targeting the gift market, for example, key rings, coasters, purses, dog collars, wallets, etc., things that you can make dozens of in a day, you'll definitely make a lot more money. Now, if you can then offer to personalise those small gift items, you can easily double your profit at no real additional cost to yourself. People will readily buy a well-made leather keyring, but they will happily pay you a lot more if you can put their girlfriend's name or a silly little message like the world's best dad. It costs you nothing more to personalise an item, but you'll see your profits skyrocket if you focus on this in your leatherwork business. So let's take a look at this great product. So this is the FoilCraft Junior Hot Foil Stamping Machine. Now the manufacturers, Creative Printers of London, hereby referred to as CPL, very kindly sent me this to show you all what it can do. Now CPL are a British firm that have been trading since 1986. They've built a great reputation for their top quality products, made in the UK, CE approved and built to the highest standards. Now, I've shown you the cheap Chinese machines in previous videos, but this really is the Rolls-Royce of hot foil machines. It's built like a tank, but only weighs about 12 kilos, so it can easily be moved around your workshop if space is limited. And the build quality is second to none. And if you're serious about making a living from personalisation, you really need to think about investing in a professional machine like this. So let's take a look at this little beauty. There are 2 models in the FoilCraft range. This is the junior model. Its bigger brother, the pro model, is a little bit larger and is built more for stamping larger, bulkier items. But if you're just starting out or on a limited budget, then this is the one I'd recommend you go for. It can do everything you need when it comes to personalising small leather items. I mean, I say leather items, but you don't have to restrict yourself just to leather. This will stamp onto just about anything. Phone cases, books, anything with a reasonably flat surface. By the way, I've managed to get you a really good deal on this machine, and if you hang around to the end of the video, I'll let you in on it. I've also put a link in the description below this video. So, before I give you a demo of what you can do with this, I'll get all of the technical stuff out of the way first. So, it's available in both 220 volt for my UK and European viewers, but also 110 volt for the USA viewers. It's supplied with either a UK or a USA plug, depending on where you are from. But it can also be used in Europe with the addition of a simple travel adapter. Its height can be adjusted by up to 2 inches, that's 50 millimeters, so it can handle things like books, Bibles, diaries, and other thicker items. You can even get an attachment to help you personalise pencils. I mean, wow, talk about being versatile. And I'm sure with a bit of thought, you could all come up with all sorts of jigs of your own if you have special requirements to hold unusual shapes. It does come with 4 magnets, 2 long thick ones and 2 thinner shorter ones. You can use them on this metal plate that stops your product moving around. It can stamp both text and dies. It can take letters up to 1 inch tall. I mean, that's 25 mil, that's a big letter. It doesn't come with the letters, but CPL make and sell a wide range of fonts and sizes, so they'll be able to kit you out with everything you need. CPL can also make you a custom die, so if you want to emboss in foil or even deboss into leather your logo, it's doable with this machine. I'll show you both in a moment. It even comes with a die holder with a handle for quick changeover. That's one of the problems with the Chinese machines. There's always a time lag between changing where you've got to wait for the thing to cool down. With this, that's taken care of by the handle die holder. It's also supplied with a pair of heat-proof gloves. So the die holder, that's this little thing here, will hold a die. A die is just your logo engraved in brass normally, up to 4 inches, which is 100 mil, by 1 1/4 inches, which is 30 mil. So that's more than enough for most people. It's got a nice big base plate and a smaller chromed base plate here in the centre. That's ideal for stamping smaller items, but you can detach this quite easily, and that gives you a big flat surface for stamping larger items. So enough about that. Let's get down to actually doing some stamping. By the way, don't worry if you don't quite get what I'm doing here. When you buy one of these machines from CPL, not only do you get a detailed 1.5 hour long training video, which covers everything from setting up the machine to techniques for stamping on many different types of materials, you also get full access to their amazing customer support, either by phone, email or social media. I mean, CPL are well known for their excellent customer services. In fact, if you're not really sure whether it's the right machine for you, they provide a free testing service where you can send them a sample of your material or one of your products that you want to make sure it works with, and they'll actually test it for free. They'll stamp onto it and they'll let you see the results. So that way you can be sure it's exactly what you need for your needs. So let's get on and do some stamping. So before we get into the detail, you may remember with the other cheap Chinese hot foil presses that I've shown you previously, there were a number of issues that made them difficult to use. CPL have looked at those issues and made a machine that's a joy to use. The main advantage with this machine is this. You can lift the stamp head completely out of the way, which means you can see exactly where your product is positioned before you bring down the stamp. There's no guesswork. You can just clearly see it in front of you. Simple as that. So another pain with the other machines is changing the letter holders or die holders. I mean, you had to fiddle around with little nuts and bolts and, doing things upside down where you can't see the bottom of the plate. It was a pain. But again, CPL have made this just so easy. The brass letters, they slip into what's called a slip case, which holds all the letters nice and tight, centered properly. And then you basically just put that into this block of aluminium, which is the heating plate, called the chase. Now, to get it nice and centered, you're supplied with a wide range of different size spacing blocks. They're called furniture, but they basically allow you to adjust the position of the thing you're stamping with in the chase, so it's centered approximately. So you just basically put a block in, and then you put your slipcase with your text in, obviously making sure that it's upside down, so when it comes down print, it prints the right way around. So you just drop that in and just roughly center it, and then just make sure everything's pressed firmly against the back. Just tighten up those 2 little Allen keys. The kit does come with a small toolkit, so you can tighten those up with the provided Allen key. So that's it. The machine is basically set to go. just 1 point. Depending on the size of the font you're actually using, you can get between 1 and multiple lines of text. The smaller font you use, the more lines of text obviously you can fit in there. If you want to do bigger blocks of text, you need to look at the bigger machine, the Pro machine. But this one, I would say 1 to 3 lines of text is probably about it. So first off, we'll turn the power on. There's a big knob on the side here. If you rotate that and set the temperature to approximately 110, a little red light comes on to tell you it's heating up. When that light goes out, it's reached temperature and you can start work. The manufacturers recommend temperature of between 100 and 110 will cater for most products. If you're doing some debossing, which I'll cover in a moment, raise the temperature slightly to 120 degrees. So I've put some letters into the slipcase, installed it in the machine. The next step is to take this little rubber mat that comes with the product and position that over your platform. The purpose for the mat is that it gives the material you're stamping into something under it which has a little bit of give in it. The rubber is a bit softer than the metal plate, so that allows the stamp to be crisper. So how do we get the stamp to line up with the product? Very simple. We just take a piece of acetate. This is just clear overhead film you can get from any stationery supplier. So you just lay that over the area where the stamp's going to fall. If you're not sure, bring the arm down but don't touch the surface, just to get an idea of roughly where you think the stamp's going to fall. Now you hold that little bit of acetate in either with a bit of tape, or just take one of the small magnets and just hold it down with that. And then we're going to stamp onto the acetate first. Now, because it's a very hard material, it won't stamp very well. So don't worry about the quality of the stamp. This is purely to get the positioning first. So we take a piece of acetate, put that over the foil, and just bring down the press. It doesn't require very long. A second's probably enough. Peel away the foil. You can see it hasn't stamped correctly, but that's because it's a very hard surface. I'll show you later how to correct for things like this. But we then just gently fold back the foil without moving it. It's very important to keep it in the same position. Put the product you're going to stamp onto under there. I'm going to use some scrap for the first one. So we'll put our scrap on there and let the foil flip back. So you can see already that gives you a wonderful visual guide of where the stamp's going to hit the product. So there's no messing about with guides and jigs and things. This shows you exactly where the stamp head will hit the product. So I'll put that approximately there. So again, we just fold back the acetate, take another piece of gold foil, put that over the product. Be careful not to move anything. You can put your foil back. You can see it's not quite, it's moved a little bit, so it's not a problem. Just position everything so it's where you want it to fall and it's in position. So fold back the acetate and just bring down your arm for about a second, firm press, and there we see, we pull back that, we have a perfect Geordie stamp. Now isn't that brilliant? So what happens if it doesn't come out right, like it didn't on the acetate? It's quite simple. If you find that, we'll use the acetate as an example. If I put that behind, you can see it. Here, the top section of the stamp is faint, whereas the bottom section's fine. So if you look at the top of the machine, I won't bring it down fully because it's hot, but you can see on the top there are these 4 adjustment rods. You just make a slight quarter turn adjustment on the relevant knob, and that lowers or raises that section of the stamp. So in this case, it's the back of the stamp which wasn't pressing down firmly enough. So we'd a quarter turn tighten on both of those 2 back stamps, and that lowers the back of the plate by a micro adjustment. So it's a very good feature of this machine. So say if you get a problem stamp, just adjust those 4 bolts. Always use scrap first, get it right, and then you can start stamping your products. So I'll put a die in the machine, and the process is exactly the same. Everything's set up as it was before. So we first stamp onto the acetate to find our position. So I'll just put a piece of foil on top of the acetate. So, and then bring down our stamp head. Again, don't expect a perfect impression, as I explained earlier. So if we peel off our foil, that gives us a rough indication, or an exact indication, where the stamp will actually fall. So again, I'll take a piece of scrap just to demonstrate the process. Again, you've got that wonderful ability to line things up perfectly just by moving your product around. If you wanted to position things with a magnet, you can use these nice big magnets that come with the product. Form a nice simple L shape and put your product in there. Or you can play around with the magnets and put them where you want. And I'm just going to do it by eye because I can. And so same process, peel back, get a piece of foil out first. There we go. Peel back the acetate, making sure it doesn't move. Put your foil in position, put the acetate back again, just make sure everything's where it should be. And then bring down your press on, and we should have a perfect logo. Now, there you go. Isn't that perfect? Can you see that on the camera? So that you can do that with any logo, any stamp, and it should all work out perfectly. So I'll quickly show you some different products that you could stamp onto. Like I say, obviously you've got your own products, your own things that you create, but if you don't want to do that, you want to just buy ready-made products, CPL have a wide range of things they can offer you. They do things like luggage tags. This is a luggage tag. They do little card wallets. There's a little alligator skin, crocodile skin type design. Little key fobs. All different shapes, all different sizes. There's a very wide range, so check out their website if you don't want to use your own stuff. But I'll do a few demos on these products to show you what you can actually do. So let's take, for example, this little luggage tag. Now, as you can see, it's got a strap on it and buckles and things. You need to make it as flat as you can. So you first of all, you would take off anything like that. So you've actually got a nice, roughly flat product. Now we don't need the backing pad for this because it's already got some material. It's got multiple layers of material, so we shouldn't need that. So again, it's got a nice flat surface there that we can put some text onto. So same procedure as last time. I put the text block back in. So first of all, we'll just put a stamp over there. Oh, I did forget to put, I forgot to put the thing on, didn't I? Quickly put that back under there and just do that again. So I can see where my text is. So, like I say, take off that and again put our product under. Now this, you shouldn't need to put anything to hold it, but you could use the thin magnets. For example, you want to put one underneath here and then maybe one at the side. I'm using the other one, so I can't do that. But then you can again line up your stamp so it's exactly where you want it. So I think about there. So as long as you don't move it, carefully pull back your film, a piece of foil over that, check again it's right where you want it to be. Okay, and here we go, fingers crossed. And there we go, just carefully pull that away. And as you can see, we have a perfect stamp, perfect first time. Perfectly lined up, perfectly straight, and a perfect print. Now, isn't that brilliant? So the same applies to all of these products. As long as you've got a reasonably flat surface, I mean, curved surfaces, you wouldn't get an even impression, so it must be reasonably flat. So again, we'll try this little wallet, little pink wallet. So again, if you want to use a magnet to line it up, you can. I think I'll do it without a magnet this time. I don't think it's necessary for this larger product. So same procedure, just get your item lined up. So I'm going to put Geordie there. I think we'll put it in the middle. Yeah, we'll put it in the middle. Put it there. So again, take a piece of foil. Just carefully pull back your film. Place your foil down. Just check it's going to hit in the right place. Yes. And again, here we go. And we should have, again, a perfect print. Now, isn't that brilliant? Now, there was a little bit of overspill there. That was my mistake. What you can do when you're doing products like this to avoid other parts of the press hitting the gold foil is just to take a paper template and cover it up. So to avoid that happening, what I'm going to do is I've made a very rough paper template, just a piece of paper with a hole cut in it. And what that'll do is that'll stop the other parts of the press, the die, from touching bits of the gold foil and putting it where it shouldn't be going. So you put your product on your press, line it up again so that your text is going to be where you want it. But this time put this little template over there very carefully. Just check again that it's lined up. Okay. And then when you pull back your foil, so your film, put your piece of foil over that, like so. Make sure everything's still lined up. Oops. Okay, I'm going to go for that. So here we go. And hopefully, there we have it. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, that I think is just perfect. That is really good. Look at that. Perfect. No overspill. Perfectly printed on a quite difficult, I would say a difficult surface normally, but that's come out absolutely perfect. So brilliant. So there we have it. I mean, you can print on basically anything. I would say anything. There might be some exceptions, but generally everything. I mean, phone cases, there's another market you can print for. Luggage racks, luggage tags, key rings, handbags, suitcases. The list is endless. So let's move on. So I'm going to quickly show you debossing. Now, just to clarify some of the technical terminology, embossing is when you put something on the surface of, say, leather, whereas debossing is where you press something into the surface. So embossing is raised or above the surface, debossing is below the surface. So if you want to put your maker's mark or some text into the leather, but don't actually want to use a coloured foil, you can do that with this machine quite easily. First of all, turn the temperature up to 120. Do that quickly. And then we just wait for that to click, for the light to go off, as I showed you previously. Now we need a piece of leather. I'm going to use some veg tan. If I can find a bit of scrap. If that'll fit, it will. So there's a little off-cut heart that I've had from some other project. So when you're debossing, you need to apply a bit of water to the surface. So you need to case the leather first. And we do that just basically with a damp sponge, just moisten the surface. Don't make it totally wet, just until it turns dark. And then that's our thingy, our piece to be stamped. So again, use your little acetate to line it up where you want it. You don't need to have the sponge backing on this one, the foam backing, just there you go. So I've lined it up. It's reached temperature because the click there means it's reached temperature. So pull it down this time, keep it for a second extra, so 2 seconds, and just press as hard as you can. And there we have a debossed logo, or text in this case. So again, you can see it's actually below the surface, so it's been pressed in, it's been branded into the leather. So that's there permanently. So you can do that with your logo, with text, whatever you want. So again, I'll give you a close-up. And there you go, isn't that brilliant? Your own branding iron. Perfect results every time. So we're all done. So what's my opinion of the machine? I think you all know by now, if I think something's bad, I'll tell you the truth. But if you haven't guessed it by now, I actually think this is a brilliant piece of kit. It outperforms the cheap Chinese machines I've reviewed in past by a long shot. Its design is well thought out, its build quality is amazing, and it comes with everything you need to start earning money right out of the box. So I mentioned a special deal I've done with the manufacturer, just for my viewers. So if you'd like to pick up one of these machines for yourself and see your income double, then use the link in the description below this video to head over to CPL's website. It's not an affiliate link. I don't get anything for sending you there. I just think it's a great machine, and I hope you do too. Now, if you mention the code Geordie when you place your order, either by phone or online, they've agreed to give you 2 free rolls of foil. So don't forget, just tell them that Geordie sent you and you get your free stuff. So until next time, bye-bye for now.